Hey, Cookies here. I'm going to talk to you guys about the bosses in City of Threats. We're going to start off with the first boss here. This is just like a pug plus 10 that I ran before the reset. This very first boss, the major things that I will just mention right off the bat is for the Subjugates cast, we're going to have the tank at full HP just all the time. That's the big tank hit, and if the tank is not full HP and they don't use a defensive, they are probably dead. So we can help by just making sure that they're at full HP. That's our job. And then the boss is going to cast these Shadows of Doubt. When that happens, you want to be by the edges of the circle. Just be mindful if the boss is going to move at all. I usually don't dispel these debuffs. I just let them sit on people. That way it's easier for everyone to dodge. But if I see someone in a good spot or they're taking a lot of damage, then I will definitely dispel them. There's the Subjugate cast. We make sure the tank's full HP. Moving with the boss, we have to stay inside of this circle. We have a Shadows of Doubt, so we're going to stay by the edge. And here I'm just watching where the orbs are going to go, and I kind of stand in between them. And as long as they're out towards the edges, it's usually pretty easy to dodge, like seamlessly. And then what you want to do for this cast right here, so I'll just rewind it a tiny bit. Man, it like really rewound it. Okay. We'll go through these one more time. We have the Subjugate. We have a Frontal, which is the Terrorize. And we have Shadows of Doubt. And sometimes Shadows of Doubt will overlap with this. And then the thing that I was going to mention is this Phosphorus Indoctrination. That's going to be the big AoE channel cast. There's two things. First, this is where you use healing cooldowns. This is going to hurt a lot. The entire group. And then the other thing is I always, while the cast is happening, I try to group up towards the front of the boss. That way, as soon as the channel ends, I can just follow the tank wherever we're going and not step in this stuff. Because if you're behind or on the side of the boss and you touch this purple stuff as it's spawning underneath his feet, because it spawns once the indoctrination cast is finished, it will definitely kill you. Just one tick of damage from standing in it is insanely rough. Here again, the cast is going off, so we kind of condense in the front, and then we go this way. Main idea is just heal, and then once the cast is finished, you need to be ready to be moving. Making sure the tank's full HP for that Subjugate. Then we have new orbs coming out, so I kind of group up. I try to find a spot where no one's at. I'm obviously on the mage right now, but I group up towards the edge. Orbs go out. Tank hit. And then we have the AoE, which I heal through, and then we group up towards the front. You can see me standing right up here towards the front, and then the stuff drops on the floor, and I just kind of follow the front of the circle as the boss moves. And then now once the boss moves past me, then we're back in the kind of the side or the back area of the circle, and then that allows us to deal with like the Shadows of Doubt mechanic. And it's just kind of a rinse and repeat from there. There's a pretty nasty frontal, so I just try my best to stand next to it, but not overlap on the orbs. And that's the whole fight. Next boss is the twins. These ones go through two phases, and I think it's a lot easier once you understand the two phases. So the first phase is, I believe it's Nyx who is active. Basically, one of the bosses moves and one of them doesn't. So right now it's Nyx, and then Vix will just stand there and spam cast Knife Throw. So in phase one, you're dealing with icicles. That's your main kind of mechanic, which is coming up right here, which is just going to apply to, I believe it's 4 players, and everybody needs to press defensives. You get hit by a large single target hit, like in a straight line, and then it puts this debuff, this magic dispel debuff on you that ticks for a lot of damage. So we're basically using healing cooldowns for the icicles because I think it's the hardest hitting ability out of this fight. And then after that major cast happens, it's going to switch cycles when they go in the middle of the room here and kind of teleport to each other. And this is phase 2, where now Vix is active and Nyx isn't doing anything. And what Vix does is cast Rhyme Dagger, which is just on the tank. And all you do is you just need to make sure you're all stacked up next to the tank. It spawns this big circle, and then as long as people are standing in it, it removes these debuff stacks off the tank and then it goes away. So like right there, we weren't all standing in it, so it took a longer time to get rid of the debuff, but usually it's pretty instant. So you don't take too much damage from it. It's not too bad. It's mostly just a positioning thing. And it can kind of mess with you because you need to stay stacked up while, you know, avoiding stuff on the ground and whatnot. And then they do these frontals. Now they teleport in the middle. They switch again. Now we're back in the icicles phase. So all we need to be concerned with really is healing players who get targeted by the knife throws because they'll get a little bleed on them. And then outside of that, it's just making sure that everyone's topped off and presses defensives or reuse healing cooldowns for the icicles. The easiest way to think of it just from the perspective of a healer is you're using cooldowns and really like pumping out the healing when icicles is coming out. Like right there, you see I pop Ascendance. And then for phase 2 or the other phase, you're popping cooldowns and doing all that stuff for Rime Dagger. Icicles is definitely more deadly overall as a healer, so that's what you'll want to watch out for. But Rime Dagger still does, you know, a decent amount of group damage. So it's basically just watching those two abilities. Everything else you really don't need to worry about too much with what's going on in the fight. Besides like what I said with the throw knives, you just need to heal the players who are taking bleeds and make sure that they're healthy. And that is that entire fight. There, I could have been stacked in a little faster. And then the next boss, their big blob friend. There's two things with this. The first one is soaking these, not these orbs, unfortunately, there's an affix of orbs too. But the big red orbs that he spawns that come towards him, you need to soak them. I would not soak more than 2 at a time because it gives you a giant absorb shield that puts like a dot on you until you get rid of the absorb. So it's really important to be healing players who get that absorb on them. And then really the only things that you're focusing on healing during this fight is going to be the Vicious Darkness, which is these like big stomps that he does. It just does a moderate amount of damage to everybody. This is not like the heavy hitting ability. It just does a moderate amount of damage, and basically what will kill you is if you have a big absorb shield and are taking damage from the orbs, and then he also does a stomp. So that's why I want to make sure we top off the players who get those absorbs on them as quickly as possible. The thing we're actually concerned about is this Dark Pulse. This does so much damage, even on like non-tyrannical keys and stuff like that. Dark Pulse hurts a lot. So you should only get 2, maybe 3 Dark Pulses if it's like a long group taking a long time to kill him, because even this is a tyrannical plus 10 and we get 2 Dark Pulses before he dies. So you really want to put everything you have into each Dark Pulse. So use like 1, probably 2 healing cooldowns, like major healing cooldowns for every single Dark Pulse. Obviously if you don't have that many, then spread them out, but the idea is all of your healing cooldowns should mostly be going into the Dark Pulse, because that's what's going to hurt the most. Doesn't mean to like not use anything in between that. You can definitely still throw stuff in between if you're falling behind, but you want to make sure you have at least something for every Dark Pulse, which you can see here when it's going to be cast. See, the stomps do not hurt that much. It's basically, the stomps are only deadly if someone's not full HP. Well, that's all we have to make sure of, is that everyone's at full HP, but the Dark Pulse will kill people at full HP. We have to be actively healing them during it in order to keep them alive. And that's pretty much it for that boss, is just help soak orbs, don't soak more than 2 at a time, and then the Dark Pulse hurts real bad, so use stuff for it. And we have the last boss, which is probably the one that people struggle with the most, especially on week 1. So for this boss, the major thing is she's going to spawn these little orbs. Actually, there's actually 2. I'll mention the orb thing first, and then we'll talk about the other kind of overlapping mechanics that healers actually need to care about. So the orb's like the generalized mechanic that everyone needs to care about. She spawns these orbs, purple swirlies. Usually move clockwise or counterclockwise, it doesn't matter. Most groups are going clockwise. You just step to the left of the orbs, and then I'm going to ignore everything else for now, but what you're going to see is these little purple swirls right here on the floor as we move. Every time you see those purple swirls start spawning, you just want to shift a little bit more clockwise. Groups unfortunately move way too much. Like right there, we have more orbs spawning, so we just move a little bit to the left of them, and then we stop. So now we stop here until more of the swirlies spawn. So now we're sitting here, we shouldn't be moving at all. There's a new swirly, so we move. It'll spawn 3 of them total. And now we're breaking these, and then the same thing's going to happen. You're going to see little purple swirlies spawn under our feet. There they are. So we just move to the left a little bit, move to the left a little bit, and now we're out of the way. And you just keep slowly shifting as the orbs follow you. Other than that, we will talk about the big overlaps. So for this boss, she is going to cast 2, or I guess 3 major abilities. She's going to use Splice, which is a dot that she applies to everyone. If you have things like AMS is super, super potent for this fight because you can AMS before the Splice is cast and it will not apply to you at all. So you just don't get the dot whatsoever. And I think you keep the AMS shield on top of that. And then she's going to cast one of 2 abilities. She's going to either use Tremor Slam or Umbral Weave. It's random which one she uses at the start of the fight. And then from there, she typically alternates. So if she casted a Tremor Slam first, then the next time that she does Splice, it's going to follow up with an Umbral Weave. And then the next time she does Splice, it's going to follow up with the Tremor Slam. It's always Splice, and then the dot ticks, and then as the dot is expiring, she either Tremor Slams or Umbral Weaves. Tremor Slam, you get out of the giant circle under her, and then press a big defensive because it hurts really bad. And then Umbral Weave, you all stack up, and as long as you're full HP, it shouldn't kill you. So here, for instance, she casts Splice. Now she's doing a Tremor Slam, so we get out of the circle, and then it hits us for a big chunk of damage. The most deadly overlap is definitely the Tremor Slam. But now you can see the timers change to adjust. So now she's going to do a Splice into an Umbral Weave. So here she does Splice, puts a dot on all of us. This is what we want to be like prepping and using kind of cooldowns for. And then now she's doing Umbral Weave. For this, you just stack up. You break all the roots. If you have something that breaks roots, it will get rid of it. So that can be really useful. You just want to make sure everyone's nice and topped up. But the main thing you want to use healing cooldowns for is definitely when the Splice overlaps with a Tremor Slam. It looks like, I could be wrong here, but it looks like every time she does the tank combo there, you want to, or she will do a randomized combo again. So now she's doing the Splice. And you can see it's going to either be an Umbral Weave or Tremor Slam. There we go. We have Umbral Weave again, so we got it twice in a row. So yeah, it randomizes every time that she kind of resets the phase, I guess, which is after every tank combo. Now we're moving. She's going to do Splice into Tremor Slam, so this is one that we're going to probably want to use healing cooldowns for. We'll see what I end up using. I do not remember. Looks like Healing Tide Totem. Then we have Tremor Slam. I don't use Spirit Link here. I think I was about to use Spirit Link, but I noticed we have a Zephyr on our group, so we don't need the extra damage reduction. But that's the idea, is every Tremor Slam, you want some kind of big damage reduction, or everyone needs to be topped off after that immediate Splice. The Umbral Weave is not nearly as deadly. It definitely still hurts, but it is nowhere near as deadly because it doesn't do as much damage. And just to clarify on the tank hit, that is this process of elimination cast, which you'll put a giant circle on the tank needs to move out, and then they take 3 successive like large hits. There you can see there's a Tremor Slam, and I use Spirit Link. But we just want to make sure that we're spam healing the tank like in between each process of elimination cast. I think this one will still go off, so we'll watch it through. There's the Splice. We're going to have Umbral Weave, so I just need to make sure everyone's healthy before this Umbral Weave. Even there, not everyone was at full HP. We had some overhealing and shields and stuff going out, so that's what helped. But Umbral Weave is definitely not as deadly as the Tremor Slam. So here's the tank hit, process of elimination. Big circle on the tank. He gets out, and then he takes 1, 2, 3 big hits, and it's kind of our job to help heal him in between, or if you're like a healer with an external. The process of elimination happens exactly every single minute, so if you're like an evoker or a resto druid or a holy priest, you should have your external up for every single one. So you definitely want to save your external for that. And I think that pretty much covers every single boss, so hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if I did not clarify anything in the comments, and I will like pin that comment and answer any questions. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next one.